everybody? Welcome back to the Straight Outta BS podcast. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. I really appreciate you. Let's keep on getting the word out there about these places. If you haven't seen the program on Netflix, watch that. For real. Watch that. If you don't know about the T.T.I, maybe watch that before you even watch an interview. If you stumbled across these interviews, watch that first so you get a better idea. But definitely watch that. Keep on getting the word out there. Share these videos. If you're not subscribed already, subscribe to the channel. If you want to support my work, there's links in the description. Thank you to all my Patreon members. I appreciate you more than you know. I never really thought that I would be in a position where I'd be able to help people and I'd be able to, receive support for it. So that's awesome. It means the world to me. And everything's reinvested into the podcast to make it better. So I appreciate you. I want to do a moment of silence for the person still suffering with drug addiction or anything like that. So on the count of 3, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what years.
Hey, I'm Jennifer. I went to Cross Creek from 04 to 06.
Okay. And walk us through what was going on at home before you, what led up to you being sent there?
Longer.
I'm sorry, what?
I said my mistake. It was 05 to 06, but it felt like it was a lot longer.
Okay, no problem. Okay, could you walk us through what was leading up to you going to the program? Did you know that you were going to go beforehand? Did they say, hey, we're going to send you to this school? Could you just walk us through what was happening before getting sent there?
Yeah, I was definitely running on the wrong path and quite fast. I had been in rehab a couple different times, mostly for marijuana and alcohol. I didn't really get that much into hard stuff or anything, but I was definitely going down a wrong path. I was staying out. I was truant from school, just staying out all night. And yeah, my parents, they didn't give me any knowledge of it or anything else. It was one of those middle of the night things where they actually begged me specifically that day to make sure I came home. They said if I missed another day of school, I was going to get left back. So I actually went home that night. And then it was about 3 a.m. when I was woken up, cuffed, and brought on a plane.
Okay. Looking back on it, do you feel like you were just doing regular delinquent teenage behaviors, or do you feel like you were actually like obviously nobody deserves to be sent there, right?
Yeah.
But do you feel like it was more warranted in your situation, or do you feel like you were just being a regular teenager?
No, it was definitely warranted in my situation. There were other options, though. My dad thought I would like the wilderness programs too much, and he thought military school would be too easy for me. I'd either get kicked out or I'd be running it, and I wouldn't really learn any lesson. So he opted for a program that was more supposedly about character building.
Okay. Were you more of an outdoorsy person, or were you like let's just start there. Were you like an outdoor person?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
My family has a cabin in the Catskill Mountains, 13 acres. And with both my parents being teachers, we used to just spend full summers up there. No internet. We actually, just a few years ago, finally got rid of the rotary phone and put a new phone in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was rustic in the middle of the woods, and it was everything.
Okay, so you were like more used to that, so he probably thought that would be like in your comfort zone or whatever the fuck, so didn't send you there. And then okay. Were you interested? Well, obviously you probably weren't interested in going to boot camp, but like were you interested in like the military or anything like that? Did you have an interest?
No, not at all. My dad did serve in the Army though, so that was more on his path.
Okay. So did you get transported in the middle of the night? Can you walk us through how you got to the facility?
Yeah. After getting on the plane, it was rough to just have everyone staring as I'm a kid being dragged through the airport in cuffs. No one really knew what to think of it, so I guess no one asked or thought to do anything about it because it seemed unnatural and like not normal. It was just shame, embarrassment, and then getting there. They put me in a room. They didn't let me sleep all night. And then when it came time for group in the morning and I started dozing out, I got in a lot of trouble for that. It was an interesting process. Definitely a shock to the system. Like, I wasn't going to try to run or anything because it was just, I did not know what to do. Like, it was not something I ever thought would happen.
Did they handcuff you when you were on the plane or when you were being transported at all?
They handcuffed me in bed. And then I asked to go to the bathroom and they wouldn't let me close the door, so I couldn't climb out the window. And then once I was done using the bathroom, they put the cuffs back on. I wore the cuffs the whole ride to the airport, all through the airport, on the plane, after the plane. They only came off, excuse me, they only came off after I was securely inside the facility.
Okay. Were you transported alone or were there other people being transported with you?
It was just me.
Okay, interesting. And was it was it like really tall people, like really big people that transported you, or
Huge, both in height and weight.
okay. When you got there, did they go over rules with you? Did they hand you a rule manual? Did they buddy you up with anybody? What happened when you got there?
When I first got there, I sat in the group and was just berated over and over by Ron. And then, eventually.
Ron Garrett, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I still shake when I think about him.
Yeah.
He just went on, and it was hours and hours before I was introduced to anyone. I just had to sit in the staff buddy room and just wait. I didn't even get to use the bathroom for over 6 hours. And then when I finally asked, and, me with my smart little mouth said, if I get a bladder infection, I'm going to sue this place. So I found myself in isolation real quick.
Your first day there?
Yeah.
Okay. How long did they keep you in isolation your first day there?
They kept me there for most of the day. I had breakfast and lunch there, and then they let me join the group right around when school was ending, because there was a little bit of a break after that. And that's when I met my Hope buddy, Katie. She was awesome.
Okay. And did she go over the rules with you and stuff like that, or show you the ropes, or was that kind of her job?
Yeah. She was actually assigned to me. I'm not sure what the standard period was, but I think I was under her watch for 2 weeks. And she was definitely telling me every little detail of every little thing. It's too much to take in all at once. Like like we should have had a handbook or something just to keep up with it. It was very, very intense.
Yeah, it's like we're told all of this stuff, and then we're just expected to remember every single fucking rule, every single thing that we're not supposed to do, every single thing we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to do it. And in a lot of these situations, they don't give you a paper manual, and it's insanity. How long after you got there did they put you through your first seminar?
My first seminar, I was there for I think 2 months before they let me do orientation. Ron definitely was not a big fan of mine, so he tried to stop me from progressing in the program as much as possible.
What makes you say that he wasn't a fan of you? Like, what made you feel that way?
his favorite thing to say to me was that I'm just a little brat and that's all I'm ever going to be. And that has definitely stuck with me over the years, and hasn't limited my myself, but it definitely echoes in my head. Just him saying it over and over.
Just like that inner critic, except for it's another person's voice. It's really crazy. I know exactly what you're talking about. If you had to make an estimate when you got there, I know you probably can't account for the boys' side. If you can make an estimate on them, that'd be cool. How many people on average would you say was on the facility when you got there, and how many people was on average on the facility when you left?
It was a pretty steady number the whole time. I think it was around 250 girls and around 200 boys.
Okay.
I think. I'm not really sure on the boys' side. I know there was a little bit less than the girls, but the girls was steady around 250 the whole time I was there.
Okay. And how long after you got there did it take for everything to fully sink in and for you to realize, holy shit, where the fuck am I?
I mean, the first moments there was a huge shock to my system. I don't think it sank in for maybe about a month before I realized that they weren't just trying to scare me, that I wasn't leaving.
Okay. And were you rebellious in your program? Sounds like you said you had a little bit of a mouth on you. Were you rebellious? Did you find yourself at level 1, 0 points for a long time? How was your program?
Well, I learned very quick that my mouth was not going to get me anywhere good, and that ISO room was absolutely freezing. So I learned very quickly to keep my mouth shut and really only talk when we were in group. So I really, I didn't really get myself in trouble with my mouth so much.
Okay.
It took me a long time to progress. I really can't even say why. I just wasn't given the opportunities. I was told a couple times that I wasn't allowed to go to a seminar for a ridiculous reason.
Like almost they chose you out before you even went type shit?
Yeah, basically I was just told you're not ready, so you can't do it.
Interesting.
Even though, yeah, because I wasn't being oppositional, but I wasn't buying into the program.
Okay. How many times would you say that they did that to you?
Oh, 4 or 5.
Okay, was it for different seminars or was it for the same seminars? Like I'm just curious if it was like for like you know how focus is like that pivotal point in a lot of people's program. I'm just kind of curious if it was more they were trying to keep you out of focus or out of discovery or what.
It was both. It was both discovery and focus.
And you said about 2 months before you went through orientation. So you did orientation because later on, I think they changed it to discovery, focus, and then principles.
Yeah.
I think they incorporated orientation and discovery together. So 2 months. Okay. So you said you had a problem like gaining levels. What level did you get to by the time you left the program?
Level 3.
Okay. And were you pulled from the program or did you graduate?
I turned 18, and they wanted me to transfer to the 18 plus program in Montana, so I gave that a shot. But overall, it wasn't. It was a lot different and wasn't restrictive or anything. But I didn't feel myself benefiting from it at all.
Okay, and was that the girls' rancher? I believe it was called. Was that?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if it was the same one that was the 18 and over program when I was there at Spring Creek. I'm curious about that. How did you like the food there? I know some people hated the food. How was it for you?
It was awful. It was definitely prison quality food. And the rare times we got a treat, it was never, even the treats, even the ice cream wasn't good. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it was
Not good.
Gross.
Did you get to work kitchen at all?
A little bit, a little bit. As it got closer to my 18th birthday, they knew I was going to leave, so they were trying to teach me how to work, is what I was told. So I was finally allowed to, that was the only reason I was allowed to make it to level 3. Yeah, just because they knew I was going to leave. So I don't know what was all behind that, but
Almost like they were trying to incentivize you to stay longer.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Did they make you do any work projects when you were there, like free labor type thing?
No, not me in particular. I know a lot of girls did stuff like that. But I was, like I said, Ron always regarded me as someone who couldn't be trusted, so I didn't participate in a lot of different things.
Okay. Did he probably never told you why he kind of like had it out for you, did he?
No,
Okay.
no, it was
You
right off
just
the
felt
bat.
that.
Yeah, right off the bat, he was just screaming at me, and it never let up. Like even in front of my parents, when I was finally able to see them after 8 months of being there, uh, he came in the room, was yet again screaming at me, um, and ended with, "You're just a brat, and that's all you're ever going to be." And then he stormed out of the room. Didn't even say anything to my parents.
Do you ever wonder what possibly was in your file that maybe he might have been told, or that because you know how all of us had a file, right?
Yeah.
On us. So do you ever wonder like what might have been in your file? Make him
Issues with authority. So he was trying to be just over the top authoritarian and make it a point that I'm not gonna be able to work him over, and it's just yeah.
yeah. It's like they know how to break us down. It's really messed
Absolutely.
up. Did you guys get library at Cross Creek?
Yeah, that was actually like the one saving grace that I had there. Uh, I used to love to draw, and I would fill up sketchbooks, so they took that away from me. They said I was putting too much focus on that rather than my healing. So I wasn't allowed to draw. I wasn't allowed to write poetry. So all I had was those books to dive into.
Okay. What was some of the favorite books that you read when you were there?
Um, I actually still read the series today. It's Piers Anthony. It's called the Xanth series.
Okay.
It's kind of like just he's a very punny guy. Like a catapult is a cat that flings things with its tail.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like a fantasy world with all manner of creatures, and it was a really good escape from just dissociating to survive.
Did you ever feel like you were actually the character when you would read a book and that you're actually there instead of at Cross Creek?
Yeah, yeah. Oddly enough, Wuthering Heights, I read over and over, and it felt it felt kind of similar to the situation, but was still like, yeah.
Yeah, I did that a lot. I did a lot of reading when I was in the program. Okay. What do you think the hardest part about being there was for you, and how did you deal with it when you were there?
Um, the hardest part was definitely the feelings of abandonment, because I had struggled with being adopted my whole life. So it felt like I was just being dumped, that I was
Okay.
just being dropped there and just dumped. Like,
When were you Oh, go ahead.
no.
Okay. When were you adopted?
I was adopted at birth.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, did they bring that up in your program about being adopted and try and be like, oh, your parents didn't want you, that
Oh,
that kind of stuff?
absolutely. They just threw me away. They didn't want me and they just threw me away. I actually am in touch with both of my birth parents now, and that was not the case at all. But it definitely has long-lasting scars from hearing that over and over.
I can imagine. Okay, so when you turned 18, you went to the program. You went to the 18 and over program. How did you, first of all, when you were about to turn 18, did they start, well, they were trying to butter you up and keep you there. How did the transport between Cross Creek to the 18 and over program happen? Did they transport you again, handcuff you, that whole bit? Or what was the transport like?
The transport, they actually had my parents come get me, and we flew out there because I was doing it willingly. I wanted to just leave, but I let them talk me into doing the 18 plus program. So, I mean, at that point, they really, if I'm 18, I don't know if they even could have put me in cuffs at that point because I wasn't committing a crime or anything. That would actually be a kidnapping charge for them. It wasn't, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Hold on a sec. Okay, so you got there, and I wonder if they had you transported by your parents so they could so they would see if you were gonna try and manipulate.
Probably, but I mean, at that point, I was going there willingly. I said I'd give it a shot. I knew I didn't have to stay if I didn't want to. So there was no reason to try to get them to take me home or anything, you know.
Yeah. Did they how long were you at the 18 and over?
Not very long, under a month.
Okay. And how many
I think
people were at the 18 and over program on average?
Less than 10 girls when I was there.
Okay. And did they put you there level 3 or did they put you there level 1 starting over?
Level 1.
Level 1? Okay, interesting.
But, you know, the levels there were different and a lot easier. It was based on a lot of just doing normal things like as an adult, transitioning into adulthood. So it wasn't restrictive like most of their programs. It was kind of more just like, this is the last chance before you go out on your own. So it was pretty easy.
Did they actually teach you anything in the 18 and over program that has helped you later on in life?
No, I mean, I like I said, I was only there for a couple weeks. And I didn't see any benefit to being there. Like even the group therapy, no one took it seriously. No one was ever benefiting from it. The life skills that they were trying to teach me, you know, just, I mean, I spent a couple years at that 14 months at that program, folding my laundry the perfect way they want me to. I don't need to learn how to do my laundry here. Like, I think we got those bases covered. So I just didn't see a point in staying.
Okay. And when you left, what did that look like when you left?
When I left, my parents paid for a hotel down the road in Missoula, Montana for 2 weeks and gave me a gift card to the grocery store. I'm trying to remember. I think they used like the company van and just dropped me off in Missoula.
Okay. And what happened from there? Did you stay in Montana or?
For a couple weeks I did. You know, while I had the hotel, I stayed there and I actually ended up I just sitting at the local park. There was a river running through it. I had a little pit bull wander up to me. So I took care, yeah, a little Bonnie. I took care of her, and then I ended up going to the classic car show at the same park, and someone came running up to me saying, "Hi, Bonnie, where's Jake?" And I was like, "I don't know who that is." So she gave me his number, and you know, I called him, said, "I have your dog," and he was very grateful that I took care of her. So he actually took me for a road trip down to his grandmother's house in Mexico and then his mom's house in Guatemala, where I stayed for about 5 months. because they
Awesome.
were the archaeologists who found the Mayan jade mines.
Did you tell him at all what you'd just been through?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that was a big part of why he was like, I don't know you from a hole in the wall, but you want to come on an adventure? You
That's
know,
all.
yeah.
uh, did you make a lot of really close friends when you were at Spring or Cross Creek? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I kept to myself a lot, but there was definitely a lot of girls that, helped me through it and really just made it so much easier to be there. Unfortunately, so many of them have passed away because they never got past their struggle. But I tune into the survivors group all the time. It's just nice to see people popping up and see how they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, I love it. Let's see. Oh yeah, how many seminars did you get through by the time you were done with both of the programs?
Um, I went through Discovery. Um, and Focus, they kind of just pushed me through because they knew I was leaving.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't, I definitely, I acted the part while I was doing it, but I knew the only reason, after they had denied me to go to Focus so many times, I knew the only reason they were doing it is because I was leaving.
Okay.
That was,
Do you, yeah. Do you remember what your stretch was by chance?
that was the song.
Yeah, the song where they made you like dance in front of the people and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, it was Lady in Red.
Okay.
Because one of their favorite things to do was to talk about how I was a whore.
Of course, of course, of course. Um, do you remember your I am statement?
Um, it was I am beautiful. I think it was I am capable and I am intelligent.
Okay. Okay. And probably not, but I'm just asking to ask. I'm just always curious. Do you remember your purpose statement? It was attached to your I am statement. Like it would be like, I'm an empathetic, loving, handsome, and powerful young man. And my purpose is to unconditionally love both myself and others while maturing through growth and integrity, or something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember that part. I don't remember that part. There's definitely a lot that I've tried to block out over the years, but
Definitely. Okay, that's totally fine. No worries. Um, let's talk about life after the program. How was reintegration into society for you? What did you struggle with the most as a result of the program? Stuff like that.
um, it didn't hit me until after I was back from Guatemala because I went from something that, I knew nothing about at the program to something I knew nothing about in a foreign country. So I think I got lucky in that aspect that it really eased the transition because it went from being living in hell to just having all the freedom I could imagine. Coming back to New York, though, um, that's when I started noticing that the difference in myself and how I interacted with people that I had known for years and years. You know, and just the little things that I would do, like it was very clear that the trauma was still with me because I would find it difficult to relate to people, difficult to talk to them, just because the way that my brain was programmed at this point was I knew it wasn't normal, and I would come off as very awkward, just saying things that wouldn't be normal at the program, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah, I definitely got more than a few funny looks when I said I got a 20/20.
Yeah. Did you did you struggle like just like with the relationships and friendships and just like keeping people around and making new friends? Because I struggle with that a lot.
Absolutely. It's really just keeping them around and really letting them in. It
And when do we let them in? And how
Yeah,
much do we let them in on? And when? You know?
yeah,
It's really
absolutely. Yeah, I had very, very little trust in anyone, so I basically kept everyone at an arm's distance. Like, I had a lot of friends, but very few people that I was really close to. It was a very, very small group.
Did anybody know you before you got sent to the program and like just realize that you just disappeared and vanished one day? And then
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was, a whole community. I still am in touch with many of those people. A lot of them I just run into here and there, but there was a lot of people where when I got back, it was strange because nobody recognized me. I went to the same park that we used to have a boxing league at, and I was there for about an hour and nobody recognized me until till my friend Rob showed up, and it took him about 10 minutes, and he was talking to me, and he realized who I was. And then all of a sudden everyone was like, why didn't you tell us it was you? Because, like, what happened to you? Where'd you go? It was, yeah. It was
it's
a
like,
great reception, but yeah.
yeah, it's like, where the fuck do I even start?
Yeah, yeah, that was I didn't cover it with most of them. I just glanced over it saying, oh, they sent me to boarding school, but I'm back. Because
How
they
long
were
did it?
not
Oh,
going
go
to
ahead.
understand. Yeah, no matter what I said to them, no matter how I tried to explain it, they wouldn't have understood.
How long after you were out of the program did it take for you to finally fully open up to somebody and like tell them about what happened to you, or have you?
You know, I'm just getting to that point now. Um, I just got out of a horribly abusive relationship where he just violently attacked me without saying a word, uh, and it made me take a look at why. And it was, just it was the same abuse. My brain was wired to accept it, so I let it continue for years until it got to the point of just unmanageability. So, but that really made me take a look at it, and I've been doing therapy for it, and today was the first time I think I actually really told anyone about a lot of the experience.
Well, thank you for being so brave, and I appreciate it. And you're not alone. And I appreciate you coming out on the podcast and sharing your experience. It takes a lot.
No, no, thank you. It's, hopefully all these programs get shut down, because it's, and the more people that say something, the less people can deny what actually happens there.
Exactly. How is your relationship with your parents nowadays? Have you? You probably haven't tried to talk to them about it since you're just opening up now, correct?
Um, I've talked to them a little bit about it. I never really went into full details because they didn't believe me, and I don't know if it's, their own feelings about finding out what the program is or whatever it is. I'm sure they feel certain ways. So it just, whenever it comes up, it's a very brief conversation. Um, yeah, my mom is starting to watch the program though. So
Okay, well that's good. That was gonna be my next question, is if you were gonna ask them to watch it or if they had watched it.
yeah, I definitely did. My dad is he's German, so traditionally emotionally unavailable. Uh,
Yeah.
but my mom definitely started watching it, and yeah, I don't know how far she got because she just started watching it yesterday. But yeah, that was scarily accurate.
Yeah, it was really well done. I really, really enjoyed it. um, Did you ever struggle with like drug addiction or anything like that because you were trying to bury feelings after the program?
Um, Not really. Not really. I definitely did self-medicate a bit. Um, Mostly weed. I
Okay.
do have my medical card, so I
Yeah,
but
I
I
smoke weed
did,
too.
yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
did a bit of LSD for a while, just because I found that it relieved a lot of the anxiety symptoms. Um, but once I had my oldest child, that it just changed everything.
Okay. How old is your child, if you don't mind me asking?
He's 13.
Okay. Have you talked to him at all about what happened to you?
Yeah, I have. He definitely struggled for a long time in school as well. Um, so I let him know, look, like if we do have, if it elevates anymore, because his school was ready to kick him out.
Yeah.
Um, so we were considering military school just because it's a lot more regulated, you
Yeah.
know. So absolute last resort. And then I explained to him a lot about the program I went to, and I was like, look, this isn't to punish you. This is just to make sure that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Uh, and he actually watched a little bit of the program yesterday, and he did it on his own accord. And he actually said, Mom, can I just go upstairs? This is going to give me nightmares. And he only watched maybe about a minute of it.
Okay. Okay. Well, at least he watched part of it, and that's going to get stuff clicking in his brain and, hopefully, it
Oh yeah.
sounds like he's thinking about it.
Oh yeah, he's doing
So,
he's doing much better now. We switched him out of the mainstream schools to an academy, and he's doing great now. He's on high honor roll, so he
okay,
found
so
his
what
stride.
was he in public school then and then you switched him into private? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble in when I went back to high school. Um I don't he's in high school, correct?
No, he's in 8th grade.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
back to I struggled a lot being in public high school. I maybe would have done better in private high school, but you
Yeah.
never know. Um,
It's also great that they're now starting to have these programs available. The one he's in, every teacher, everyone who works there has to be dual certified in psychology and whatever their main degree is.
that's
So,
fucking amazing.
right? I've told them so many times, like, I wish this school was available when I was his age because so much would have been avoided.
So literally, if he's having like some mental problems, then he can actually just literally go talk to somebody that actually has a degree and can
Yep.
actually be like walk you through your emotions and actually. Okay, awesome,
It's fantastic.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
um, what was the most fucked up thing that you saw at Cross Creek when you were there or heard about?
Um, a girl came back from Tranquility Bay and had to have her jaw wired because they had beat her so badly.
Okay, and was this something you witnessed or that you heard about?
Um, she was in my group,
Okay.
and that was the reason my parents decided not to send me to Tranquility Bay, even though they were being pushed to.
Okay. Did they have her? So did she have do you know any of the detail? Like, do you know if she had surgery away from the facility or how they handled that problem?
They were very, very quiet on what happened. Um, so yeah, it was kind of a mystery, but we kind of could put the pieces together that she just got beaten severely.
Did they try and isolate her from everybody else and not let her talk in like groups as much?
I can't say yes or no. I remember that I didn't talk to her much.
Okay.
I don't remember a lot of the details around that.
I wonder
Yeah,
if they put her on Black Cloud. That's the only reason I'm asking is that I would think if somebody came to a program from another facility and they were injured like that, if I was running a program and I didn't want to be caught, I would put them on Black Cloud and just be like, you can't talk to anybody.
I mean, that's very possible. Like I said, I didn't have much of an experience of her, so that very well could have been the case. I remember her coming back and the story passing around that she had surgery, and you could clearly see that she was struggling with her jaw. And I have a vivid picture of her in my head when she came back.
Okay.
But I did not. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I didn't. I tried to stay reserved and quiet. I really didn't talk to anyone all that much.
Okay. And was she there for a long time, or did she end up leaving the facility pretty quickly after she was transferred?
She initially came back to our group, and then she was transferred to another group. So after that, I don't remember.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
That was, you know how the groups were. You don't talk to anyone unless you're way up there in levels.
Yeah, exactly. Did you let's see. You didn't get to go into upper levels. Let's see. Okay, is there anything else you want people to know? Or hold on. I have a bunch of questions before that, actually. Back up a second. If you could go back in a time machine and not go through this place, knowing what you know now, would you do it, and why?
No. Because if I changed one thing, there's a good chance that I wouldn't have either of my sons, and they are my heart. If you change one thing in the past, you never know what it's going to create for the future. And it stinks to have these memories, but I have my boys and I have a voice. So, whether or not I went there, these programs were still going to exist. At least I can stand up and say something and, say how wrong these programs are.
Exactly. If you could tell yourself one thing, like if you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing, what would it be? Like before the program. Like if you could go back in time and like try and like talk yourself out
I
of
wouldn't have listened.
I probably wouldn't have listened either.
Yeah, who I was as a kid, I wouldn't have listened. I would have probably just laughed it off and been like, yeah, okay, see you later.
Yeah, that had never happened to me. That had never happened to me. That's literally what I said. When my parents literally were like, we're going to send you here if you don't start acting better. And I was like, no, you won't. You'll never send me there. And they did. So.
Yeah, if my parents had told me that they were going to send me, I would have disappeared.
Yeah, there was a lot of kids that they said that about they'll take off. I probably would have taken off too. If I had actually believed I was going to get sent away, I probably would have taken off too. If what else would you like people to know about your experience? And what would you tell a parent maybe thinking about sending their kid to a program like this?
Do your research. Do your research. These programs, and the documenting the program really covered that base. They only show you the pictures of the happy times. They don't show you what the program actually is. If you're not allowed to go in and visit the program and walk around and see what it really is with your own eyes, do not send your child there. Like, if you cannot get all the information that you need at any given point, don't send your child there. Like, I know a lot of these parents are desperate, and this is the only place that will accept the kid. But at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. No good. Like, even the people that graduated the program, half of them were retreading a few months after they graduated. That proves not only that it doesn't work, but the fact that the fact that no research is done, it's about to change their child's life entirely. It's going to dictate their child's entire future. So if a parent's going to send their child away, make it an informed decision, because it's not worth your child struggling for the rest of their life because they can't overcome some of the trauma that was bestowed upon them.
Exactly. What do you think would have helped you better instead of getting sent away to the program? What do you think you needed?
Honestly, for me, I needed to feel like someone actually cared about me. I think that's really what it came down to at the end of the day. I never got help with any of my issues regarding being adopted. So they just manifested in different ways.
Okay. And is there anything else? Well,
I don't know what really would have helped me. I was definitely one of the extreme cases that I had to go somewhere.
Okay.
I think, in all honesty, I think even though I would have enjoyed the wilderness program, I think that's where I would have actually excelled. At not all of them. Some of them are just as bad as, they're part of the W.W.A.S.P programs, but there are good ones out there where, I think that would have been something that actually helped me, because it would have been something that I felt passionate about, and it would have helped for me to feel a purpose.
Yeah. I went to a wilderness that was part of Spring Creek Lodge, and that one wasn't nearly as bad as the other wilderness ones. And they were actually like having us lead the group and trying to teach us leadership and stuff like that. So it was different. It was actually like cool to get away from the facility for a while too.
Yeah, sorry, I just gotta turn my alarm off.
Yep. All right, and I was just gonna ask, is there anything else you want people to know about your experience?
My experience personally, it's just, it's never worth it to send a kid to one of these. Like the damage that they do is lifelong. For all of us, it's never going to go away. No matter what you did there, at some point, you were being tortured. From the moment you walked in, they decided your fate. And, I've always been a very strong-minded individual, but, I have since then struggled with anxiety issues, and some of the triggers, some of the triggers and some of the things that they said, it never leaves you. Like, one of the things that it always pains me to hear is, based on results, you have exactly what you intend.
Yeah.
But that's, that's just not the way things work.
No, that's essentially, you have to be accountable for your rape and all of that stuff,
Yeah. The accountability that they had there was not accountability. It was control.
Exactly. Was there anything good about your experience at all? Or anything that you enjoyed?
Some of the people. some of the people there. You know, there were good staff members that, you know, we were very lucky. Our family rep she was nice. She cared. You know, you could always pick out the ones that actually cared. That, and, you know, there's this huge network of people now that have similar issues. So, you know, there's a lot of people to reach out to if, you know, if you need help or something like that. It's become kind of like a family where even if it's not someone I knew, if I go and I say, look, I'm struggling with this, there'll be 20 people picking me up and, you know, saying, hey, I struggle with that too. And it's nice to have that network.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. I love the community we have. I really do. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you. If you ever want to come on for part 2, and if you start remembering a bunch of things, if memories start flooding back, just take some notes and we'll do part 2. Just let me know. And yeah, just thank you so much for coming on the show. If you guys have watched this far in the video, please make sure you like the video, subscribe, share the videos. Let's keep on showing these motherfuckers what we're made of and get these places shut down for real. So thank you, and don't forget to like the video. Have a good day, y'all. Bye.